TNA, Impact, August 11, 2016. Now, granted, you probably never seen my face before kind of reviewing Impact, but I'm going to kind of start now, and I'm going to do it as best as I possibly can. If you actually enjoyed this review, remember to subscribe. That can actually really help me out, or check out my movie reviews that I actually do. But let's talk about Impact. This was actually a pretty good show. Now, granted, we kind of kicked off this show with the video package, pretty much showing EC3, James Storm, Bobby Lashley. Now, granted, obviously, as you know, this is for all the gold. Storm versus Lashley, and they kind of built that up by showing like Storm the last time he held the belt. It was like 5 years ago. The thing about it, they kind of constantly kept on showing this over the course of the like 2 hours, which really kind of bugged the shit out of me a little bit, because if you know what happened afterwards, his world title reign, it was not really anything spectacular. It was just kind of a throwaway. So therefore, it really didn't mean much by them saying, hey, Storm won the belt 5 years ago. So it was not really anything. They show EC3 winning the series. Then EC3 comes out. He's talking about redemption. He's talking about he's done some good, he's done some bad. Lashley then comes out. He says that nobody is going to stop me. You're not man enough to kind of stop me, whatever it may be. Storm comes out. And then Storm is kind of saying, hey, maybe you guys are drunk a little bit because, you know, I'm still, you know, here. I'm Bound for Glory is, you know, weeks away for the most part. And it is 51 days, as they said, at that point in time. The thing about this thing is, though, I like James Storm. I really do. I feel like he actually is still a very valuable commodity. But the thing is, and I'm going to brace yourself right now, James Storm is the equivalent to TNA's Big Show. That is the legit fucking truth. Big Show is a loyal guy who's kind of there for a long time. He's a veteran. He kind of puts over guys for the most part. He gets paid essentially to do nothing, a big paycheck to essentially do nothing, and essentially he doesn't really have any direction going for him at all, and kind of bores you to tears. Put that for James Storm, they're almost the exact same fucking person. Now, like I said, Storm is not as bad as Big Show when it comes to the ring. I can actually watch Storm, but they're very similar to the point where I just don't really give a shit. See, you kept on saying these people are going to like cheer for me, or these people have been cheering for me for the last like 14 years, and I was just like, well, maybe not during that like, you know, that Bray Wyatt period or whatever the fuck that was with like Abyss and, you know, Tigre Uno. That was a terrible time. I don't think they were cheering for you then. But then we kind of get, you know, Mike Bennett, Moose, they kind of attack EC3. Then we kind of get a match, just kind of like thrown together right there. That was a pretty solid match, Moose and Bennett versus EC3 and Eddie Edwards. That was a cool match. I really enjoyed it. And then Bennett kind of gets the pin from Moose after Moose kind of like slams down Eddie Edwards. And then Moose looks a little bit pissed off. The thing, I was telling somebody this already before, I'm guessing they're trying to set up Moose versus Bennett at Bound for Glory. Some people are saying maybe it's a little bit too quick. They just kind of came together, and I think it is for the most part. Now, granted, would it be a good thing? Sure, why not? Moose doesn't really impress me that much. He just kind of seems like he's a guy there. The guy seems like he's in decent enough shape, I guess, but I'm sure he's super strong, whatever it may be. But he just seems like a guy there. And the main thing I noticed while watching this match, brace yourself, this is a big thing. Mike Bennett has some weirdly skinny legs. I don't know what it is, but the dude should really start squatting maybe a little bit more. But then, you know, you can't skip leg day, man. That's just a simple truth. I have notes, but anyways, eventually the next thing we kind of get is the big reveal, right? Now, before we get to this big reveal, I have to say this. There's a hot chick that's always in TNA in the audience, right? And you've probably seen this black chick, big hair, whatever it may be. She's very attractive. But the thing about her is she's always in that same spot because they tape or whatever, but she always has no emotion. It's like she doesn't even care to be there, and she's just kind of trying to be noticed by like some modeling agency or whatever it may be. But forget that for now. Aaron Rex comes out. Aaron Rex turns out to be doing things his way, and he's not Sinatra. But the thing is, it's actually Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow comes out, a.k.a. Aaron Rex, which is his real name. He's talking about missed opportunities, being too entertaining. The thing is, I really liked this shit because it gave me some flashbacks as to like when Christian debuted back in TNA, you know, when he first came. Because it showed that Damien Sandow actually has something to kind of offer. Will he go far? I don't know, but I definitely think he can prove himself that he actually was a wasted talent in WWE. So I was very impressed by his promo. And he felt like he was holding back. My dude, I really wanted him to like fucking go off. But obviously he probably realizes that, you know, maybe he might want to come back one day to WWE or whatever it may be. But this is a cycle right now for TNA guys usually. They kind of come to TNA after, you know, missed opportunity in WWE. They kind of shoot on WWE. Then they kind of have a good high period. They have a low period. Then they leave. They go back to WWE. Then kind of shit on TNA, a.k.a. Ric Flair, Christian, Booker T, Kevin Nash, a whole bunch of other people. They have no problem when they're getting paid. But, you know, it is what it is. But I hope Santa actually does well. I thought that was very good, passionate promo. And I was actually very impressed by him. And he's doing things his way. But that was actually quite cool to see. The next thing we kind of get pretty much is like Gail Kim with, Maria and, Mighty Mouse or whatever it may be. They kind of start a match. Marty Bell kind of attacks her. Marty Bell really wants that stick to be a fucking thing. It's not happening, girl. It's just not. I like Marty Bell. But then we have Gail Kim versus Marty Bell. A pretty interesting match. Not really anything spectacular. It kind of ended quite quickly. Maria and Tiffany or whatever it may be, they all kind of attack her. The thing about the Knockouts division, though, I feel like it's not really having any type of fucking variety and structure a little bit, because I feel like it's just the Gail Kim show right now because she's getting inducted or whatever it may be. So I get it, but it's not doing anything for me. And the thing about Marty Bell is that, especially every match, if you see her on the indies or whatever, she can go, right? She can really go. The problem is that she comes across as clumsy and very botchy in all her matches, and it's a very big problem sometimes, and it's very hard to kind of defend her. But I like Marty Bell. She's very attractive. I like the hair, Puerto Rico, whatever. Woo! But, yeah, I thought that was good. Then, Maria says, all right, you want to help Jay? Jay helps Gail Kim. Then next week we get a little bit, an Asian invasion next week, because we have Gail Kim versus Jade. So that should be a fun thing. I believe Jade took the belt from her. But like I said, I feel like the knockouts just aren't doing anything, because I feel like most of the knockouts are on Maria's side. So it doesn't really add a big variety. Now, granted, I'd rather take Tiffany and anybody from Maria's side over like another Madison Rayne versus Gail Kim match. I fucking swear to God, if I see another one, I'm going to lose my mind. And that's the legit fucking truth. Eddie Edwards talks to Mike Bennett backstage about how you guys kind of keep screwing me. Why you guys keep screwing me. When he kept on saying that, he sounded like a little bitch. Just kind of complaining, like, why you guys picking on me? It didn't really make any sense, but, Bennett eventually kind of says, all right, you face Moose next week. Eddie Edwards doesn't really give a shit. He said, all right, fine, whatever. And then Bennett kind of does a very smart remark, because I feel like nobody caught it, but he was just like, all right, if you beat Moose next week, I might battle it. But that was actually kind of cool. I like Bennett. I like Moose for the most part. And I like Eddie. I think that's pretty good. I think they have a very good main event scene, but I feel like sometimes they can't have they don't know the difference between their main event scene and their mid-card scene, I feel like sometimes for TNA. But that's just my thought, just in general. Next we get Broken Matt. Now this is always going to be kind of like the highlights of the show. Broken Matt kind of does his thing. Vanguard 1 apparently is driving his car. I don't know what the fuck to say. Then, he's talking to Jeff Hardy in the ring with a segment talking about winning the tag team titles, protecting Maxwell and, his wife or whatever at the Hardy compound. Anyways, the Tribunal comes out. They apparently are doing... I don't get the Tribunal. I don't really care. Anyways, they battle Jeff. Jeff wins. Twist of Fate. Matt says, all right, you need to show me some fire. Also, Matt went to a crowd, somebody with a crowd, and he had a poster or whatever, a thing with Jeff. He just randomly put his head to some dude, and it was like, delete the fucking thing. And I shit you not, I think that was like Sonny Boy's brother from WWE. I'm not even fucking joking. And he just rips the poster. He says, delete, like some fucking crazy hypnotized Nazi. And yeah, that was that. And now apparently Jeff Hardy went nuts. He threw himself into a table. Now he's broken. He's going crazy. Look, I'd rather take broken fucking Nero over like Willow any day. But this should be interesting to see how they kind of go. Will they win the titles of Bound for Glory? He wanted the Hardys kind of come back. No, they are over. But if they do come back, then I knew they'd come back. That is. Anyways, Galloway kind of challenges EC3. He has a segment, whatever it may be. He said, oh, you keep screwing me. That doesn't really go well. He challenges whatever it may be. I thought it was actually a pretty good promo. I'm not a big Galloway fan, but I feel like on a promo he does a lot more better than on the ring. In the ring, I'm not really impressed by him. He kind of bores me a little bit. But on the microphone, he's actually kind of entertaining. But he challenges EC3 for a spot of Bound for Glory. What happens next week, I don't know. I think it might be triple threat, but that could really go either way. I'm not really sure, guaranteed. And then we kind of get to the main event, which is Lashley versus Storm. Now, granted, Storm wears some trunks, which Storm is way too fucking big to be wearing trunks, but overall, this was actually a pretty good match. The ending, you had some powerful super kicks. They kind of built it up as a big match. Storm kind of misses the super kick. Lashley kind of spears him. Boom. Lashley kind of wins. Well, he does win all the belts, and he is now every champion in TNA other than the females, unless you're gonna cut them shit off. But overall, this was a pretty good match. Lashley won, as I said. Now, what happens at Bound for Glory? My guess, Lashley's going to kind of defend it in 3 separate matches, my guess. And they're going to try to make everything as big as a challenge for Lashley that it is. And therefore, whoever kind of wins, if X Division guy beats Lashley, that's going to boost them immensely and makes the X Division look good. Obviously, if whoever wins the world title, I don't think Lashley's losing the world title. And I think he obviously will lose, the Legends belt, or whatever the fuck they call him these days, King of the Mountain belt. The only thing is, though, why the fuck did they need Storm to win it last week? Couldn't they have just made Eli Drake a heel versus heel? I feel like that would have made more sense. But that's just my thoughts, just in journal. Did you enjoy Impact? Because I actually quite honestly enjoyed it. I feel like compared to WWE, even though it's not perfect TNA, they have storylines going on forward. They have storylines currently. They have things looking into future. But overall, compared to WWE, usually, they have more structure these days. And that's not a lot of times you can give TNA the edge, but they have a lot of structure. But overall, if you actually enjoyed this review, if you actually laughed, if you did anything, if you actually thought I did a good enough job, then subscribe. That could be good. Check out reviews. Do whatever you need. Help me out. That could be cool. But I'm Chris Smith. I'm signing out, and I'll see you next week.